Hello, friends. Welcome to the semi-final of the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour FTX Crypto Cup. And what a day it was, guys! What a day! It was so exciting, so nerve-wracking. Although there were only 8 games today in total, but all of them were fantastic, and I had to literally, sweat out of my, ears to actually figure out what game should I bring it to you. So let us begin. First of all, this time by Carlsen's game. Magnus Carlsen was playing Temur Rajtabov, and this was game number three. Game one and two they had drawn, where game one actually Temur showed a very nice preparation in the Italian game, and मतलब काफी आराम से ही उन्होंने ड्रॉ कर लिया. In the game two, again Temur was slightly better, but somehow he could not really convert it. So this is now game three of their match. So Magnus started with d4, knight f6, knight f3, and here comes the first reprise, like g6 खेला उन्होंने, which means he is ready to play the King's Indian. And usually, these days, not many top level GM plays King's Indian except Radjabov and sometimes Nakamura maybe. So the brave decision, especially against Magnus. Magnus plays just c4. Of course, he's not afraid of King's Indian. G7, G3, and now Radjabov chooses c5, which he's also played many times before, which is actually one of the main moves here. Also, like castles, bishop g2, d6 is one of the lines. So here after g3, c5, bishop g2, all has been played many times, guys. cd4, knight d4, short castle, knight c3. So queen c7, black is sort of threatening this pawn, but this pawn's taking this pawn is always a little bit risky for black. And here instead of castles, which is normal, Carlsen went for knight d5, which is also actually quite normal. And here Ratchabov took knight d5. I want to mention one game here, like after knight d5. Carlsen has already played this position before against MVL. And there MVL played queen c4, knight e7, king h8, and MVL was struggling in this game. So probably it was a good decision from Ratchabov point of view that he took the knight, cd5. And here basically there are two moves. One is queen b6, which was played by Temur, and the other one is queen a5, bishop d2, forcing bishop to come here and then going here. The point is now you cannot play bishop b3 because this pawn hangs. So you have to play bishop c3, and the play continues like d6, knight d7, knight c5, or knight e5, and yeah, the game goes on, and it's anybody's game. The move Temur played is also pretty decent. He went for queen b6, attacking the knight. Knight has to come back, and now simply d6. White goes for castles. And now Timur, I think he misplaced the move order, like he forgot the move order entirely. And he went for knight d7, which is, I think it's a mistake. It's a big mistake because if you see from White's point of view, what does White want? Ideally, he wants to develop this bishop. But अगर अभी bishop बाहर जाता है, तो this is hanging. Right? So let's say if it's White to move. White to move, we can just play bishop e3, attacking the queen. Queen has to move, and then we'll play bishop d4, neutralizing this bishop. So this is the point of white. This is what white wants. So black's correct move is actually to just play queen a6 to get out of this. And for white, it is not easy to develop this bishop, and slowly black can come out with knight d7, knight c5, or something like that. But Timur forgot the correct move order, and he went for knight d7. And now Carlsen got perfect grip to the position. He went bishop e3, queen a6, bishop d4, neutralizing this strong bishop. And I've been thought like guys, कि जो भी fianchetto bishop होता है, like these bishops, okay, not this bishop right now, but especially this bishop, which is eyeing this open diagonal. अगर हम इसको कभी भी exchange कर लेना, that usually it's always good for us. The person who exchanges his bishop, like who doesn't have the fianchetto. So after bishop d4, knight f6, white is simply better because the first of all bishop is here, and white simply has more space, and black lacked some counterplay. Rook e1 was played, it's quite normal. Bishop d7, e4, and yeah, slowly white is expanding. Maybe e5 खेल सकते हैं, because if you take, there are some knight c5 sort of tricks. Also bishop e5. White is just simply slightly better for no counter play at all. I mean, knight g4 Arjabo went, trying to create some sort of counter play. Bishop g7 is okay. King g7, queen d4. King g8 was played by Timur, but I think f6 was a little bit better. The point is that after h3, I can probably just play here. For f4, I can just go back. And at least e5 is not coming for time being, and I can, start putting, start exchanging pieces on the c5. Black is still worse, but I think this would have been a more solid approach. Timur went for king g8, and now after h3, knight e5, f4, the knight doesn't have very good square. At first, I thought knight d3 is a very clever move. You know why? Because it sets a very important thing. That after knight d3, you may think, oh, bishop f1 aa raha hai. And it's spinning and it's winning. But the problem is, this was my trap actually. We knight e1 खेल सकते हैं. And now after bishop a6, black gives this check, pokes the queen, and actually black is a rook up now. So instead of bishop f1, actually this is just a bad move, knight d3, rook e3, and the knight has not many good square. So f4 for knight c4 was played, and here I was really surprised. Carlsen didn't take that long to play e5 here. Instead, bishop f1 was, I felt was quite logical, because how do you deal with this? Pardon with my arrows, guys. Yeah, how do you deal with this? Because this pin is eternal and it's not easy to get rid of it. For example, let's say if you play this, I'm going to again, attack this. And again, ask the same questions. What do you do with it? Let's say you go b5. I mean, what else? I simply go a4, trying to create, open up the position, open up the diagonal, discovering this queen. So knight a5 is more or less forced. The idea being, if we take here, black has this intermezzo with knight b3. And now if we take the queen, our queen hangs as well. We're not going to take ab5 right away. We're first going to take rook a8. Rook c8. Rook c8 is forced. And now we'll take the knight. Yes, to take back. And now we go b4. Wherever the queen goes, we simply take the pawn. Let's say if he goes here. It's very important not to take with the bishop, but to take with the pawn. Because it first of all controls this square. The bishop controls this square. And second of all, rook a6, rook b6, it's going to be really bad for black. And if black decides to, defend passively with rook b8, we can just enter with rook a7 and slowly, I mean, it's a slow torture. I don't know whether white will be able to win this, but it's going to be very hard for black to play this position. So this was a little bit surprising for me that he didn't go for this line, he went for e5. Because after that, okay, queen b6 was played, which is also fine. But I think rook c8 was more to the point. You anyway have to put rook on c8, so queen b6 is sort of strange. I mean, strange in the sense, okay, it makes sense because Carlsen went for king h2. But had he played rook c1, this would have been still, difficult for black because it's after rook c1, rook c8. The problem is now you can take here. You take the knight a5 and this pawn is not very easy to defend. This is one cool trick from black. You can take here, and challenge this. And what is black point? Black's point is now if we take with the bishop, guards this pawn, and again it's not very easy to put pressure. But I continue even further, just king f2. My point is if white can put his king to d4, then he'll always be slightly better because he has more space, spawns are very nice. All our pieces are actually contributing, towards a goal where, attacking on b7, gaining some space. But of course, black has to do something. Knight d7, attacking this pawn. And now simply d6. King f8 is again forced. And now simply e6, which is very nice. One thing, guys, why king f8 was forced? Because after ed, it's again not very easy to defend this pawn. Because let's say if you push, then I have knight c6. And yeah, it's black is feeling really vulnerable. This pawn is hanging, knight e7. There is a fork. So that's why king f8 is forced here. And now for knight e6, fe6, knight b7, bishop b7. Sorry, I'm bad. Bishop b7, knight b7. It's still not very easy for black. For example, he can take here, But the problem is he can never come here because we have knight c8 check. So black still has to be a little careful here to, draw this game. I mean, this is just a sample line, but still I felt that this was more to the point. King h2 is slightly odd. Rook f8 is also slightly odd for me. I would have actually preferred this rook. So rook f8, rook c1, queen d4, knight d4. Now this is the most shocking point of the game for me, because now Timur went for bishop e8 and he's ready for slow torture, which I don't really like. I felt that he could just take here fe5 and just take this pawn. And once again, I'm not really sure what the players missed, because let's say if you take here and go rook b1, you simply have knight d3. Rook b7, we simply play knight e5 and the knight defends the bishop. And yeah, probably that's about it. Like, I don't see any other reason of not taking the pawn, because it's such a natural move. And yeah, I mean, I don't have an explanation, to be honest with you guys. Bishop e8 was played, but after b3, knight b6, e6, black has to play f6. You just see black pieces like this. This bishop has no square. Knight को कहीं जगह नहीं. Let's see, इधर नहीं जा सकता, इधर नहीं जा सकता. d7, it's we can take here. Not take this pawn. Bishop is guarding it. So basically, both the minor pieces are completely dead. And of course, in such kind of situations, nobody is going to give you anything. Like, everybody is going to win this game as white. So I played g4, rook c5, trying to create some sort of imbalance. Takes knight e2. Probably the final chance would have been c4 here, but still the position is very bad. I mean, this would have been, some chance, some way to create some sort of counterplay. But still, I feel white is completely winning. But after knight c8, rook c1, attacking this, again, you cannot really play this because d6 is there. Rook is attacked. Knight d6 has to be played, and after rook c5, yeah, I mean, you have the same problem still. Okay, you managed to activate the knight, but the bishop's problem still remains, and it's not going to be very easy for black. Black just simply played, controlled both the sides. Took his knight to d4. Again, very dominating piece. a4, king f2. I don't think Carlsen is doing really anything. He's just playing normal chess and, AB. Look, a1, bishop f3, and slowly, move by move, is improving his position. Rook a2, rook c2, h4. Not in a hurry. Rook b2, so that the knight can be released. Knight c2, knight b4 is strong threat now. Rook has to go back. Knight c6, rook b7, king e3, and slowly but surely, our pieces are coming back to the attack. Rook c7, rook a8, and yeah, Timur simply resigned because there are no moves. Why would just play this? Maybe on king e5 and just take here, take here. This is just one of the lines. The problem for black is none of his pieces are, doing anything. This knight, the bishop, the rook, all the pieces are just stuck. And the king has nowhere where to go because of the pawn structure. And on top of that, white is also a pawn. So Timur said, okay, I've had it enough. Let's go move to the next game. So let's go to the next game. And what a next game it was, guys. Unbelievable preparation by Timur. And later, when I was hearing his interview, he even mentioned it that he was saving it for some sort of classical game because it's a really strong. It is not a novelty, but it's a sort of semi-new idea. So to play in a online rapid event, it's a big thing to put such idea on the line. अगर आप उस आइडिया से कार्सन को हरा रहे हो, तो there is no better feeling than this. So d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight c3, bishop b4. One of the most solid line present right now that Ragozin. Bishop g5. Again, one of the most popular move here. h6, bishop f6, queen f6, queen a4, check, and attacking this bishop. So knight c6. They play e3, short castles, rook c1. All has been played thousands of times here. And here, black basically has two moves. One is queen g6, which was happened in the game, and another move is rook d8. So basically, it depends like how black players wants to play here. Here, Carlsen chose queen g6, because probably I think why he chose queen g6 was because after queen g6, white's main move is queen c2, and then the game continues, the dull game continues, slow and steady. White tries to improve a little bit. Black's you know solidifies his position, and it's a long game, but usually Black managed to hold a draw in those positions. But Timur, he had other plans. He goes for h4. Rook d8 seems very normal, and now h5. And already after h5, I think Carlsen made his first mistake, only first and last mistake. He went for queen f6, which is very natural, guys. It is very counterintuitive, to play what is according to the right move is queen f5. So what is my point here? My point is, like in the game, Radjabov went rook h4 after queen f6 as well. But the difference here is black just takes here. And why queen f5? Why not queen f6? Because this gives a square to bring the queen back into the game. Now let us compare it to the game. So after queen f6, rook h4, and now simply rook f4 is a big threat. And dc4, I can just play bishop c4, and again rook f4 is a big threat. There is no way to meet it, and you're not able to play e5. The problem with black is, usually when you get e6 e5 successfully, you're fine, but in all this position black is not able to get e5. And here Carlsen thought for a bit, not for a very long time. He anyway played e5, which is a big mistake here. cd5, again rook d5 is forced, because ideally this doesn't feel right. I didn't analyze it so deeply, but it just felt very risky. Probably it's the same thing. Like I can just take with the rook, you take this, and I'll take this, so it will just transfers into the game. Anywho, cd5, rook d5 happened in the game. Now simply d5. The point of d5 is that it clears a rook and attacks his bishop, so that's why it's so deadly. There was one other move, guys. So d5, bishop c3 happened in the game. We'll look at it. But there's another move, which is queen e7, and it's not very easy to spot what is the idea of queen e7. So let me just, humor you. So here, of course, we're going to play knight b4. Our idea is simple. Kuch bhi marega, we'll just take the rook on the next move. But what black does is very cool. Rook a5. Now what is black points? Queen mar raha hai, queen to hatana padega, and then black will take the rook. But what does white do? Plays knight d5. This completely mind-boggling chess which only computer can understand. Trust me, no human being can play like this. So knight d5, black of course has to take, and now the point is just rook b5. We exchange the rook, and we have a healthy extra pawn and very good structure, and eventually we should be able to win this without any problem. But this line I want to show because first of all, rook a5 is unbelievable, and then knight d5 is like, okay, are you kidding me? So after rook d5, d5, bishop c3 was played in the game, of course. Also being human, he plays bishop c3, not queen e7, and rook a5. Rook c3, knight e5, queen e8, king h7. And here it's the first major point where, players started to think like that. They spend quite a lot of time here. And when he was thinking, I was wondering myself, like, how do we win as white? Because it's not easy. Rook f4 is a very natural move, which was also played by Timur in the game. But I think the better move was rook d4. The point is, first of all, if you just take, I'm just going to take here, and this pawn is hanging. Let's say even if you defend it, I'm just going to go here. Knight is attacked. Once you remove this knight from, guarding this square, then I'm just going to go bishop d3, and then it's just game over. So you cannot play rook d4. But what I was thinking, okay, what happens to this move? What happens is we are just going to take here. Now you can take here. This is eternal pin, so black cannot really do anything about it, and we are threatening bishop d3. I thought maybe give a check, exchange the queens. But okay, if you want to exchange the queen, you're going to exchange the queens on my turn. So to rook e3, if you take here, I mean, it's not like if you, because there are no other options. You have to take here. Rook e8. And now this is eternal pin once again, and black is just not in time to play b6, bishop e7. Because b6, we're just going to give a check. g6, bishop e4. It just looks disgusting, to be very honest with you guys. Position is completely ruined. So rook d4 again, very computerized move. If you don't know it, if you haven't analyzed it with computer, it's impossible to figure it out. Rook f4 was played. Queen d6. Again, guys, queen d6 is a big mistake. Queen b6 is the right move. I don't know why I'm showing all this line, but for me it was such a mind-boggling lines, and it's rarely we get to see such lines at a top level game. But queen b6. First of all, let's see what happens if we take the knight. There is queen b2. Okay, we give a check, takes, and now simply after bishop g4, black is winning. Because if we take here, there is a queen e2 checkmate, and white just cannot prevent, because the queen is hanging. There is also checkmate, so you cannot prevent both the moves simultaneously, both the ideas simultaneously. What else is there? There is b4. Just try to stop queen b2. But again here, bishop g4 is very nice, and it's not at all easy for white to do anything about it. The point is, let's say if you take the rook, simply bishop f3, we have to take knight f3. Again, we have to take. I mean, we don't have to take if king e2, knight g1 is anywhere a draw. So we rather take only first. And now simply queen b4, and yeah, I think black is winning here. Not at all, easy to do anything about it. For example, e4, like to defend this, black is gonna give check here, check here, queen d2 checkmate. So it's white who also has to be careful. So queen b6 was the right move, but again, no human can play like this, especially when you have 5 minutes on the clock. Queen b6 seems very natural. But now Raja played a very nice move, bishop e2, stopping rook d1, controlling the square, and just showing okay, you still have this problem. These two, how you're going to bring out these two pieces, and give some time to white. This king is also very weak. Uh, f5 was played by Carlsen, but after that, after knight d4, c6, the position was very one-sided, and I just scroll through quickly because uh, Magnus managed to win this without. Sorry, not Magnus. Timur managed to win this without much difficulty. He just cruised through, put pieces at the right places, king e2, and yeah, this actually the problem is not only white is pawn up, but this pawn is such a monster. Pawn on h5 and which ruins the structure. Plus, we have this connected passer. So black just doesn't have any hope whatsoever. So bishop e8, rook b8. Now black is completely dead, completely paralyzed, cannot really move because of the pin. Rook e6, rook e8, 95, and now simply white is 2 pawns up, g4 and knight h6, 94. Yeah, Timur converted it flawlessly. Really nice technique. Uh, didn't give Magnus any chance, and you will see, yeah, here Magnus completely resigned. And by this game, Timur managed to tie the match. So now it's one each in their set, and they're going to play tomorrow. All eyes on them. The second match of the day was between Jan Nepomucci versus Wesley So. Again, a very interesting game because it was topsy-turvy event. Let's see, e4, e6. So Nepo has been playing French defense for a while now. Like he played few games in the last year candidates, or maybe just one game where he played a couple of games. And in this, in this tour, he's been playing French quite often. d4, d5, knight c3, knight f6, e5, knight f7, one of the main lines, f4, c5, knight f3, knight c6. Let's quickly scroll through the openings. Bishop e3, a6. Solving has been played many times. Queen d2, b5, a3. Idea of stopping d4 sometimes. Queen a5, and now just take the pawn. c5, takes, and now simply knight e2. White's idea is okay. If you want to trade, let's trade. And then I'm going to put one of the knights here. Put b4, a4, and try to play for this bind for the dark squares. Queen b6, and now again the idea is okay. Knight e4 is gonna come. Of course, white stops it with queen e3, also pins this, and b4 is coming. So black has to play b4 because let's say something like this. Black does. This is just for example. I'm not saying that bishop b7 is a good move here. Just play b4, knight a4, and this position is really, black will be suffering. I'll put my king on d2, put c3, bishop d3, and I think the problem in such kind of position for black is white can actually expand on both the sides because he has more space and he has, the best outpost in the board. So this is the idea. So that's why b4 is more or less forced. c3 is a nice touch. The point is, you'll see bc3 and now b4. We're going to get the similar endgame, but with little bit, difference in the structure. Knight c3, f6. Now ef6 I didn't really like at all. I would rather prefer something like this. With the idea, if you take, I'll take with the pawn, and eventually try to make the same bind. Of course, now it's not possible because e5 will be a little bit vulnerable. But this is how I want to play eventually. Wesley took ef6, which was a bit strange for me because after this ef6, gf6, long castle. Again, long castle was not up to my taste. Bishop d3, e5, rook e1, e4, bishop c2. I think black is already starting to take over. I think just because after ef6, all this pawn mass was not so easy to control. So castles, knight h4, knight e7, bishop b3, rook c8, winning the knight, king b2, knight c4 is quite logical. Takes, knight a4. Here rook c8 was played in the game. I think rook c7 is, I think, much better because now we are threatening a5. It's not easy to move against it. And let's say if we go rook c1, black simply goes bishop c6, and once again we are threatening this. The point is, I'll show you. After g4, I can still play this because after b5 there is this pin, so you cannot take with the pawn. So this pawn is going to fall then the next move. So rook c7 was slightly better, and after rook c8, knight c5, bishop c6, rook c1, white again seems to have equalized here. Rook c1, d4, rook c1, d3, knight e4, takes, knight e5, and just rook d4. But Nepo has this check because if you go anywhere, king a1 or king b1, there is knight c3, and next move is going to be rook a2, and it's just unstoppable mate. So Wesley has to go here, rook c3, king b2, rook c2. They repeated a couple of times, and Wesley decided to play for a win, which is I found it very difficult to understand because the only person who can actually try here is black because firstly he's so active, the pawn is on d3, and although we only have two pieces on the board, the king is still feeling a little bit vulnerable. Now played for knight e3, and now probably Wesley understood. He played b5, takes, rook a3. So my question was to Wesley, like if you want to make a draw, why not to repeat there and why to play this position? So this was a little bit strange for me. Here Wesley went knight f3, which is again very strange. I would first try to improve my position, let's say h3, g3, and then do something about it. Because after knight f3, knight g2, knight king b4, rook a2, f5, because if we take this pawn, he's going to take this pawn, and black will still be up a pawn. f5, knight e3. And yeah, this position I don't really want to play as white because, okay, first of all, we're never going to win it, and second of all, black has a very decent chance to actually converting it. So that's the reason I didn't want to give the g2 pawn so easily. Like here, I would rather play first h3, try to see what black does and then continue. So knight f3, knight g2. Yeah, this was all been played. Rook d2 and now rook a7. And now a very interesting thing happened, and I cannot really explain it how it happened. I know how it happened, but why it happened, I don't know. So here, all of us are thinking, okay, black is going to play rook e7 next. The king will be cut off. Black's king is going to come, and slowly, black is going to make some progress. Maybe he will win, maybe he will not. But it's going to be long torture for Wesley. Wesley led king c3, thinking that okay, rook either aega. I'll go, something like 94, rook f2. And both players completely forgot. Also, uh, Nepo played rook e7, and both players completely forgot about this. There is this check, and the knight goes, and that's it. This is like mutual blindness. It's what I can call. After king c3, rook e7, just rook f2, king f7, knight d4, knight e3. And again, this position is so unpleasant to defend. King d3, knight g4, you will see now. Rook g2, h5. I mean, h3 is not possible because there is this check. And just take the pawn. King d2, rook a7. All sort of threats are coming. This check. Knight e2, rook a2, d3. And now already this is a big mistake. King e3. First of all, they repeated here for some reason. And now Nepo went for king g6. But instead, I was winning on the spot. So why it is winning, guys? First of all, you cannot take it or go king d5 because there is knight e3, forking the king and the rook. You cannot go king d5 for the same reason. And if you go king f4, I'm just gonna go king f6 and ask you what do you do? Like what do you want to do? And the answer would not be so easy here to, black is, I feel black is completely winning here. For example, let's say you play some random move. Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see that many random moves also here. Let's say you play h4. The idea is to play knight e5. Now we're threatening knight g6. We are threatening rook f3. All sorts of mate. So king f6 actually black is winning. Probably both players missed king f6. Or maybe they just missed king d4 also. Like king d4 is another move. But here we simply play f4. And there is no stopping this pawn. Because after knight f4, rook a4, the knight is gone. Game over again. So surprise, like I was really surprised again because both players had time. At least Nepo had time. He went for king g6 and after h3, just a dead draw. Note that you cannot really take it because there is fork again. So h3, f5, king d4, takes, rook f2, and yeah, Wesley managed to defend quite accurately here. Rook g8, and just waiting to see what black does. Check, king f6, rook g8, g5, and they just made a draw. So quite an interesting game where Nepo had chances right from the start to the end, but somehow he failed to convert, and probably that's what haunted him in the next game. So this is the final game of their match of the day one semi-final, and now we'll see how it happened. So knight f3, d5, g3, knight f6, g2, e6, castles, bishop e7, and now Nepo goes for king's Indian attack, where you actually play king's Indian, but one move up. That's why maybe it's called an attack. So castles 92, c5, e4, knight c6, rook e1, b5, e5, knight. This has been played, guys, million of times. Knight f1, a5, h4. So basically, what does white want here is you want to play bishop f4, you want to play knight h2, you want to play h5. Black plays h6, then sacrifice something on h6, knight g4, queen d2, sacrifice something there. Otherwise, go himself h5, h6, and try to build pressure over white's or black's king. Black goes b4, bishop a4, a4. And again, very important move, guys, as white is a3. Because what happens if you let black play a3? First of all, you have to play b3 then. You cannot play ba3 and let black open this fight. So after a3, b3, first of all these squares will be weak. And you can never really control, d4 square because you cannot play c3. That's why a3 is important. Not to let black to play a3. So ba3, rook ba3, rook b8. And now the player shifted on the queen side. Knight e3, bishop b7, c4. Looking at this pawn once in a while, knight b6. And finally, white managed to take it. Knight c3, hanging the queen, queen c4. And here, while they were playing, I was thinking that knight d4 is also interesting, because if you take this, then I'm just going to take here. And this is just amazing compensation. Like this king is so weak. The light square, completely dominated by this bishop. But white has a better resource, I think. After knight d4, he can simply take here as well and go knight c2, and it's not that simple for black because this is hanging already. White is up a pawn and this is also hanging. So maybe knight d4 is not such a nice move. Queen a5 was played by Wesley is perfectly fine. Rook c1, knight b5, again attacking this pawn, knight c2, and finally managed to take it. G5, rook d8. You know, all this game was completely fine. Like Wesley managed to equalize quite comfortably, and Nepo tried to put some pressure in the end game, but it was to no avail. But from here, uh, Nepo started to drift a bit. Rook h1 is okay, knight g8, but this rook c1 was kind of strange because it's just gives up this pawn. Not really gives up the pawn because probably Nepo would have thought that after rook h1, he can just take the pawn and have better structure. But actually, after rook b4, bishop c2, king h6, it's not the case because bishop d1, attacks plays h4. And the problem for white is, first of all, you cannot take this because d1 is hanging, you have to defend this bishop. And second of all, even if he takes this, all the pawns, of whites are weak, and this knight is going to, ring a havoc around these pawns. Bishop e2 was played. I feel bishop c2 was more accurate, more to the point, because after knight e7, let's say, just take here. And then next move, we put bishop e4 and try to restrict this knight and play against this knight. Once again, the play is on the only on the one side of the board, so that's why knight is slightly stronger than the bishop. If there were some pawns, here as well for both the sides, then of course white is slightly better. Never went for bishop e2, which is fine as well. Knight e7, takes, gh4, knight g6. And now, yeah, this is the position I was talking about, that it's not at all easy to, defend all these loose pawns. King g3, rook d4. And here rook c4, Nepo played. He was very sure about himself that he's going to draw this, which maybe he's right, because he's a strong player and the position is a draw. But practically, I feel I would have gone, something like rook c7 and tried to play rook versus bishop. I mean, rook bishop versus rook knight down a pawn. But maybe that is stupid. Rook c4 it's like, if it's lost, it's just lost. You cannot really do anything after that because just anybody can beat you after this. But unfortunately for Nepo, it is not lost. It's actually a draw. So took here. I mean, Wesley took here. Bishop e c4 95, bishop e3, king g7, f4 knight c6, bishop c2 h6, bishop b1 97, king g4 95, king g3, king f8. Black slowly wants to bring the king in. King g4. If now he brings, probably I'm going to play king h5. Doesn't matter. Like Wesley was not taking no chance. So first give a check. Got knight on h5. Got knight to g7. Which was a little bit strange for me because knight on f6 was doing a nice job. He could have played king d6, king c5, king d4. Of course, white would defend it with king e3. But still, I feel this is the right approach. Because after putting knight on g7, it's always a big problem for black because how is going to improve it? f6, bishop a2. Okay, white is just waiting. Black is trying to bring the king in. To h5, king g3, king c5, bishop b3, king d4, king f3, king d3, and the final mistake of the game. This is like totally ridiculous because now bishop a2 is just a draw. The point is that if you play knight f5, I'm just going to play first this. Now if you take here, then I'm just going to take here, and I have bishop f7. Take this pawn. So I don't really see what's going on here. Like, I mean, you can play knight d4, but then again, I'm going to play bishop b1 check and come here and take this pawn. So yeah, bishop a2, and still, the game continues, and maybe Nepo would have managed to hold this match. He played bishop a4, then after knight f5, cannot really stop this. Now it's just game over, I think. For example, here, I'm just going to go here. So if you go king g3, I'm going to give a check, and I have knight g7 again defending both the pawns. If you go here, then first I'm going to do this. If you take this, I'm going to take this, and I'm just in time to defend both the pawns, and this should be easily winning. Bishop b5 was played in the game, and after king d4, bishop e8. Yeah, the rest of the game doesn't require, much understanding. Just f5. Uh, Slowly you'll bring the knight out. But actually, after f5, this bishop is trapped because this is the only escape square which is guarded by the knight. And yeah, bishop has no square to escape. Bishop f7 here, king g3, king e7, bishop g6, king f6, bishop h7, simply knight e8. And the point is, if you go here, I'm going to go knight c7, and next move king g7 is coming, the bishop is trapped. So, what a turn of event, guys. At some point, we thought Nepo was better. He's going to win in the third game at least. But So managed to defend that position quite resiliently. And this game, what can I say? Maybe Nepo was slightly better in the end game when it started, but it was really वो कहते हैं ना कि मतलब थोड़े रिलैक्स हो गए या फिर उनको लगा कि कुछ भी खेलूंगा तो ड्रॉ होगा. Probably he went through that approach, and that's the reason he lost the game. So Wesley managed to win this 1.5 this match. So he leads 2-0 or 1-0 to Nepo, and tomorrow is going to be very crucial for him. He has to win the match to equalize. Otherwise, if it's 2-2 again, Wesley is going to go through. And yeah, in the other match, Magnus versus Timur, it's going to be again a slugfest because both the players are there at their top of the form. And yeah, it was 2-2 today. And let's hope we have a winner tomorrow and we see some more great chess like this. So till then, it's goodbye from my side. See you guys tomorrow.